friends, and welcome to my kitchen on the Oregon coast. Today I'm going to be making fish and chips. And I'm doing the chips a little bit less conventionally because if you've ever made French fries at home, you know there's so many steps to it. And it's fine if you do a lot of prep cooking and stuff, it's fine. I've definitely done it many times and they come out great, but it's fussy as all get out. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of a shorter version of it where I take these potatoes and I parboil them, and then I put them in the oven and roast them. And I can tell you that people are not going to be able to tell the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cut up. Can you see how I'm doing it? Like just kind of like that. So a little bit smaller than I guess you would say your normal French fries, but they're just easier to handle that way. And this was actually 2 rows. And this takes a lot of extra work out of this whole endeavor because there's a lot of passive cooking when you do it this way. And I think that they taste better. So that's why I do that. And they're healthier. So also a good thing. So this is just 3 slices long ways, and then 2 long ways, and 1 down the center. Just hold on, do a little better with that. You can do them long if you want to. The only thing about doing them long when you're parboiling them is that they have a tendency to maybe not hold their shape as well. So now I'm going to take some salt and I'm going to generously salt these. I did about 3 big pinches, like up to my second knuckle here. And I'm going to cover them in water and I will boil them for about 15 minutes and then we'll be back. And we are back. All right, so this boiled for about 15 minutes and they still have their shape, but they're definitely softer. So I'm going to put these into my favorite pan to use for this is a carbon steel pan. Because it is thinner than cast iron, but conducts heat very evenly and much more quickly than cast iron. Be right back. Hence the thinness. I'm just going to take this and stir it around. Make sure everything gets coated in the oil. And it's already been salted, so I don't have to do that. And these are going to be a little bit craggy too because of the parboiling. So you can see like the little starch granules that are, yeah. And so this is going to go into my oven for I'm going to say about 20 minutes and then I'll check them. It's probably going to take longer than that, but I preheated my oven to 450 degrees and I always check them at about 20 minutes just to see where they're at. So they usually need more time than that, but here we go. So when you're preparing your fish, there's something I want to show you. Is this focusing?
Yes.
Okay. Right here, there's a small section and this is where the pin bones are. You can try to get them out with tweezers.
But there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and the problem with this too is that you risk kind of like tearing the fish. Sometimes I do it if I really care about, or if I don't know, like if I'm really trying to save every possible piece of fish, then I will just do it this way. And actually it's not too hard to get them out. I'm going to show you something else though, because there's some right here that I'm not going to be able to get to. And I can feel, as you feel down, you can feel where they end. And they end right about here. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to cut this small section away. And you can do stuff like save this for fish stock, which is what I'm going to do. And that's really all you have to cut out. It's not as beautiful, but if you don't have tweezers, that is a way to remove the bones. I don't even feel any on this one. So I'm going to say that the monger probably got rid of that one. But yeah, so here it is on this one. And I'm just going to cut this part off. And that should take care of the pin bone problem. And then you also have some fish that you can use for fish stock or, yeah, chowder. I mean, there are things you can do with it. You don't have to throw it away. But that just takes care of it. And now you can also kind of cut these so that they're more even after that if you want to. Sometimes I do that just so there are more pieces too and they cook faster that way. And then, yeah. So I'm going to get these prepped up. So we're back. What I have here is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have a tablespoon of garlic powder and 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning. And then this is going to be our dredge, which is what you want to put the fish in before you do the batter. And so in this, I just put 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning. I'm going to use, you can use beer. I don't have access to beer here where I live. I have...
Well, I mean, you do have access. You just can't drink it.
Yeah, I mean, I have access to regular beer here, but the gluten-free beer leaves a lot to be desired. It's not something I can get my hands on very easily. So I'm going with this dry cider by Seattle Cider Company, and it has worked for me before, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to start off with one of these whisks and just get everything really well incorporated. And the beauty of this particular batter is that it's it's just real easy. Like it's just these things and then a little cider. So we're going to start off with 1 can. I might need 2, I'm not sure. Mileage varies depending on weather, humidity, all sorts of things. And when I see people saying that baking is an exact science, like you have to get it just precisely right, or it's not going to work. It's true in some ways, and in other ways, you really do have to go by feel.
It's a science in that you can replicate it, but you have to have the same environment for it to work.
Well, and I mean, that's true for any science.
Yeah.
And I think that people just kind of skip that part.
Yeah.
So you really do need conditions to be the way that they were in order to replicate what you're doing, which anybody who's studied science knows that. So, yeah. Okay, and I think this whisk is actually not great for this purpose, so I'm going to trade it in. I finally found something that the Danish whisk can't do, and that is
my God.
Mix a loose batter. Because you don't want this to be very thick. I mean, you want it to be pancake batter. And this is about what you want. You want it to be kind of runny like this.
That's like crepe batter.
Yeah, it's more like crepe batter, you're right. All right, so I'm gonna take this away too. Yeah, it was funny when I was first doing this channel, like one of the very first things I wanted to try was a donut recipe using apple cider, but using hard apple cider and kind of in this format because we had tried frying little balls that we'd made from this batter, and it was actually pretty tasty. But I made the mistake, there were a couple of mistakes I made. I didn't use a fryer. I used my Dutch oven on top of my what is that thing called?
No, it wasn't.
It was the cooktop. It was the cooktop here. Yes, it was. It was right after I got the cooktop. And I did that. The cooktop never brought the thing up to temperature because the Dutch oven was too large for it. And that's the thing that most people need to understand about induction cooktops, is that the coils need to match what it is you are using. Because if they are too small, they're not going to properly heat your implement at all. And I found that out the hard way. Yeah, it did not fry my donuts, and I was very dismayed. It was sad. We all got over it, but it was sad. What are we doing here? Still waiting for this to come up to temperature. It's definitely warm now. This is my fire's maiden voyage, so this will be fun.
Frya!
This looks perfect. Like, it's definitely coating the spatula the way I want it to, because you don't want it to be too thick. All right, so we're back. I just checked the fries in the oven, and they are not ready to go, so I gave them another 20 minutes, and that's all right. I kind of figured it would take that long. And your mileage will vary with that because, like I said in past videos, I think my oven is just slow. So, yeah, it is what it is. Stuff gets done eventually, but sometimes I need a little bit longer than a lot of people do. Oh well. All right, so I am taking this fish and I'm putting a dredge on it, and then I am putting it in my fry basket after I dip it in the batter. So here's the batter. And one of the things I also like to do is hold my hand over it or under it so that it doesn't drip everywhere. And I have a bowl here of extra dredge in case I need it. I think I'm only going to do 2 at a time, or 3 at a time, because maybe just 2 at a time. Because yeah, they're not.
It's kind of a small basket.
It's a small basket, yeah. Okay, there we go. Yippee! Cool. Okay, let's just get all of this out of here though. So there is a trick to this so that they don't end up sticking. Hang on a second, and I will show you what I figured out here. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to place them in the batter, and individually I'm going to set them in here, and I'm just going to kind of hold it for a second so that it doesn't immediately stick to the bottom of the basket, because that can happen. All right, I think that one is good to go. And now we're going to do the next one. All right, and same deal. I'm just going to hold it for a second, both sides, and kind of just, yeah, allow it to not settle. You don't want it to settle, because when it does that, it will stick to the basket, and then you end up with kind of a mess. All right, last one. Okay, those should be good to go. Put the lid back on and we will see you in 3 minutes. Good. Okay, so hopefully these ones will come out nicely. We can hope. Almost. Almost nicely. Oh well. All right, so we've got our fish and we've got our fries here. They all look pretty good. I'm going to try a piece of fish. And that looks perfectly cooked. And it just shatters. I love beer batter because it's so shattery. It's so good. Okay. I'll try one of these flies. How crispy these turned out. Golden crispy perfection. So there you have it. Make this. You'll be happy. It will feed you. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, dinner.